There are at least 3 ways to build most EDH decks. Stronger. Fun. And mean. Let's take a look at the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Wyleth, Soul of Steel. And the video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below. Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. I am Joel. We're going to talk about the 3 ways that I would build Wyleth, Soul of Steel. But first, if you like the video by the end of it, go down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. And if there's a commander that you want me to build 3 ways, let me know in the comments and you might see it pop up in a future video. Let's jump over to this commander. Wyleth, Soul of Steel, the Boros commander from the Commander Legends Precon decks. Probably one of my favorite Boros commanders that I've ever seen printed. 1 white, 1 red, 1 other for a 2/2 human warrior. It comes with trample, which is great, and whenever it attacks, draw a card for each aura and equipment attached to it. So obviously we need auras and equipments in the deck in some capacity. It's fairly narrow in that right, but from that narrow build, from that narrow style that we have to kind of focus on, we're going to get some velocity, and that is crucial for a Boros deck like this. For really any attacking deck, you need velocity. You need cards in your hand, or you will burn out early. You will be in top deck mode, especially after a board clear or 2, and you just will be searching for any answer that you possibly can find. So for the strong way, first we're going to look at some equipment and some auras and how you would protect Wyleth, maybe make him Voltron, or maybe make him a protected card draw engine while your other creatures do the attacking. After that, we're going to look at a fun build and look at a warrior tribal build, since Wyleth does come with that creature type. And for mean, we're really going to put a finisher on this possible Voltron deck and go with land destruction, everybody's favorite. Let's look at the strong way. So equipment and auras, we're going to look at some good equipment. For auras, I would look at ones that check the number of artifacts and enchantments you already have on the field, like all that glitters, or ones that give totem armor, as that's going to save your commander from a deadly attack or from a board wipe or something like that. Hammer of Nazan is probably my favorite equipment. 4 cost for an equip 4 equipment. Whenever it or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you can automatically attach it, so it's very mana efficient. And the equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has indestructible. Indestructible is going to be the name of the game. You either want your creatures to have hexproof or indestructible so that they have got some survivability. We've already got Wyleth having trample, which is nice. I said that in the opener. It's nice to have trample so that if we can make an indestructible big power creature, it's just going to push over everything else. Sword of the Animist is fantastic in Boros because it goes and gets lands, 2 cost equipment, equip of 2, equipped creature gets +1/+1. Don't care about that so much as the attack trigger. Whenever the equipped creature attacks, you can search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. That's fantastic in these colors because it's not an effect that you have a lot of, and you really need to rely on things like artifacts to get you mana ramp. So Sword of the Animist is going to help you do that in a more permanent way. If you can go get lands and put them right onto the battlefield, that's got much more permanence than a mana rock. Swiftfoot Boots gives it hexproof and haste. We talked about that. Lightning Greaves gives it shroud and haste. We talked about that. Champion's Helm, here's another one that gives hexproof. It is only legendary creatures that get the benefit of this artifact. I think that's why it's a little bit lower played according to EDH Rec statistics. However, I still love this, and for this deck in particular, giving Wyleth hexproof so that it can't be removed and you've got this card draw engine, Champion's Helm, and maybe an indestructible like Hammer of Nazan or something like that, going on to him and allowing multiple attacks to happen without really much fear of losing Wyleth, that's going to be pretty huge. Champion's Helm gives him +2/+2. Legendaries get hexproof, and that's only an equip cost of 1. And then Darksteel Plate. These 2 in combinations, that's just my favorite. 3 mana for an equipped 2. Darksteel Plate is indestructible. Equipped creature is indestructible. Now, with these 2 going back and forth, you're going to dodge most exile target creature effects with the hexproof. You're going to dodge destruction effects with the indestructible. That is really the 1-2 punch that you want going. Let's also talk about probably the best equipment in Commander, in my opinion, and that's Sunforger. 3 cost, equip 3, equip creature gets +4/+0, but that's not what we care about. We care about Boros colors, unattach Sunforger, search your library for a red or white instant card with CMC 4 or less, and cast that card without paying its mana cost. This is huge. This is 2 mana once you've got Sunforger equipped for 3, so you have to kind of think mana cost, sunken mana there is 5 mana. But for that 2 mana unattached, you can go get cards like Boros Charm. Look at that middle mode. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. You could even give it double strike in a pinch. You don't really want to unequip Sunforger and then give it double strike just because of the huge power boost that Sunforger gives it. But Boros Charm can give your stuff indestructible. Return to Dust can go and destroy an artifact or enchantment on any battlefield that's given you a ton of trouble. You can also just go get Teferi's Protection. Everything phases out. This is at instant speed, so you can protect your entire side of the board from a board wipe, which can absolutely turn the game, or Flawless Maneuver, give all your creatures indestructible. It's just another way to have avoidance, to have some permanence with this deck. You don't really want your stuff to leave the battlefield once you've cast it. I know that's true of all Commander decks, but particularly true of an attacking deck. You need your creatures to stay on the battlefield so that you can get the value out of them. Now, speaking of value creatures, Jake's favorite card. Jake, I worked SRAM into a deck tech. SRAM Senior Edificer, 2 mana, 2/2. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Auras and equipments are going to be your main triggers in this deck off of SRAM, but drawing a card on a cast trigger, it doesn't even need to resolve. It's going to do what's called a cantrip, draw a card as you're casting something, so it replaces itself in your hand. And obviously, if that aura or equipment is then on Wyleth and Wyleth is attacking, you're drawing more cards. You just want to double down on this effect, have as much redundancy on this effect as you possibly can. Stonehaven Outfitter approaches this from a different angle. Whenever an equipped creature you control dies, draw a card. Just another way to keep yourself in the game over the long haul of a Commander match. That's the strong way that I would build this deck. Let's look at the fun version and take it Warrior Tribal. There aren't as many super powerful warriors as you think that there would be in EDH, but there are a few. And then if you combine some of the warriors that you can put into the deck with some of the cards from another video that I have on the channel, building a tribal deck, it goes over each color and some of the main cards in tribal decks that would work across any tribal deck. It doesn't matter if it's warriors, elves, etc. You should take a look at that video if you want to build a tribal deck in general, and especially so for this one so that you can get some strong warrior tribal payoffs. Core Blade Master is where I would start here. It's a 2 mana 1/1 with double strike, but it says equipped warriors you control have double strike. Combining that with Wyleth already having trample built in, build that power up a little bit, give it indestructible, give it some avoidance. Wyleth is punching through, you're drawing cards and doing a lot of damage. Kargan War Leader is an anthem just for warriors, 3 costs, 3/3. You've also got Herald of Dromoka? I don't know. Other warrior creatures you control have vigilance. That's not bad. Make it so Wyleth isn't tapping to attack. You've also got Boldware Intimidator. This one and one other are probably my favorite warriors to run just because they have the text cowards can't block warriors. And Boldware Intimidator is very expensive, but if you can get it onto the battlefield, you can make target creatures cowards for just 1 red mana, and that's pretty enormous with Wyleth. If you can start making this creature unblockable, then you're doing commander damage and then you're sealing up the game pretty quick. Kargan Intimidator's also got this text, cowards can't block warriors. For 1 mana, you can make target creature a coward until end of turn. However, you're only allowed to do that once per turn, whereas with the Intimidator, you can do it as much red mana as you have, but I still think worth running in the deck for sure. Aeson Crusader is an interesting card that I found while I was researching this video. 4 mana, 2/2 2/2. Not sure how to say it. Aeson Crusader's power and toughness are each equal to 2 plus the number of soldiers and warriors you control. So a little bit of a creature that grows depending on how many you have on the battlefield. Gomafada Vanguard. Whenever it attacks target creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the number of warriors you control, can't block this turn. If you have an opponent that's not playing a lot of creatures, maybe 1, maybe 2, a mana dork, something like that, Gomafada is going to help you get through with that, really geared up warrior. And then let's look at warrior creature tokens. Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients. Number 1 is just fantastic in an equipment or a deck in the first place. That -2, look at the top 6. You can reveal a warrior or equipment card from among them, put it into your hand. That's pretty enormous. Plus, her +1 is creating a 1/1 and then attaching an equipment you control to it. So you've got this fodder. You can leave Wyleth as your card draw engine. You can let one of these tokens get geared up and start attacking. And here he's huge in a deck like this. And then finally, I think we should also run Oketra the True. It's a 4-cost, indestructible, double striking 3/6. Can't attack unless you control at least 3 other creatures, but we should be able to do that with this deck. Plus, it's just one of the best token generators in white, in my opinion. Pay 4 and you get a 1/1 Vigi token, and you can just sink mana into that as much as you've got it. Warriors is a tough tribe to build in EDH. I wasn't really counting on it being so difficult to find very good playable warriors for Commander, but I think that's a solid, albeit short list that you can start with if you want to build a warrior tribal deck, and Wyleth, like I said, is a fantastic commander for it. That's the fun way that I would build this commander. Let's look at the mean way and look at land destruction. So the thought process here is you've got Wyleth built up, you've got some creatures on the battlefield, maybe indestructible on Wyleth, so you've even got more coverage. And then once you're ahead on board, and no other time you need to be ahead on board, you play the land destruction, and then you should be winning within the next couple turns. I wouldn't encourage playing land destruction unless you're pretty sure you can seal it. Really good way to piss off your play group if you're just destroying everyone's lands and lengthening the game when it doesn't need to be lengthened and you don't really have a chance of winning. Let me know if your play group even allows land destruction. Let's look at some of the stuff that you can run. Armageddon, destroy all lands. That one's pretty straightforward. Catastrophe, 6 mana, destroy all lands or all creatures. I like that it's a little modal, so we don't have to go totally land destruction if we don't want to. Say we're way behind on board, we can destroy all creatures and then start rebuilding from there and work our way towards an Armageddon. Ruination is nice because we do run a 2-color deck. That is a little lower powered as far as lands go and land ramp goes. So destroying non-basic lands, all of them, could really pay off, especially if we know that it's coming and we can plan for it. Obliterate says destroy all artifacts, creatures, and lands that can't be regenerated. This is the kind of one you only want to play once you've got Wyleth equipped with Darksteel Plate. That is really the only instance I would say Obliterate could really work for you. Like I said, you want to make sure you're ahead on board and you've got some staying power past your big wipe spell, be it Obliterate or Armageddon or Catastrophe, something like that. You want to make sure that you are ready to take over the game so that maybe all your opponents just go into scoop phase after Obliterate because they know you've got it, or you can seal it up in the next couple of turns. Jokel Hops is from back in the day, and I had to put it in here just because it's such good memories. 6 mana, destroy all artifact, creatures, and lands that can't be regenerated. Jokel Hops, such good memories, he says. Let's move on. Stoneshaker Shaman's a 3 mana 1/1. This is kind of coming at it from a different angle, and I like that. At the end of each player's turn, that player sacrifices an untapped land. Interesting, we can make all of our opponents tap out every turn, hopefully, because they don't want to sacrifice any of their lands. And that means that our stuff's not getting counterspelled. We are in Boros, so a little protection on that would be nice. Just like Price of Glory, this is another one that we can protect ourselves with. Whenever a player taps a land for mana during another player's turn, destroy that land. Counterspell deck, you say? Come one, come all. I've got a Price of Glory for you. Teferi's Protection we already saw in the Sunforger section, but I thought it was worth a mention here because you can play Teferi's Protection, play something like Obliterate, and then you're really set up for just an amazing turn there. I mean, if you're obliterating and then in response Teferi's Protectioning, that's pretty much game, and everybody can just go, all right, well, that was a lot of freaking mana we let you get to, and I'm glad somebody ended the game. Boros Charm, permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Same thing as I was talking about with Sunforger's section. Make sure you've got some spells that's going to give your stuff indestructible. If you're going to play board wipe tribal, essentially, you need to make sure that your board wipes aren't hitting your stuff as much as you can. With cards also like Unbreakable Formation, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. And then also things like a Chroma's Will. This spell is so good. 4 mana, if you control a commander, you can choose both modes. The modes are creatures you control gain Flying Vigilance and Double Strike until end of turn, or creatures you control gain Lifelink Indestructible and Protection from all colors until end of turn. Little keyword soup, but that's the kind of instant spell that can get you around the board wipe, much like Flawless Maneuver, which we saw in the Sunforger section as well. If you're going to wipe the board, don't wipe your stuff. Wipe only their stuff, and then make them concede. That's the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Wyleth Soul of Steel. Let's close the book. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you liked the video. And like I said, let me know down in the comments, number 1, if your playgroup's okay with land destruction, and number 2, if there's a commander that you want me to build 3 ways. If you'd like to support us further than a like and a subscribe, go check out our Patreon. Link is down in the description below. We've got a lot of cool stuff over there. Access to our Discord instantly when you join at any level. Go check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. Other than that, I'm tapped out, and I'll catch you later.